Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In today's video we will talk about the great demon and Marquis Sabnock. I will break down the origins of Sabnock, his powers and what regions of life he can help you with, what offerings are great to give to Sabnock, his appearance, some general information, as well as my own experience. So this video can very well serve as a starting point for everybody who seeks to connect with the amazing spirit Sabnock. Before I dive into the information, let me start off by saying that I see Sabnock as the great protector. I'm very grateful for everything that Sabnock has done in my life, and I create this video out of gratefulness and as an offering to Sabnock. Sabnock is a demon and spirit mentioned in the Ars Goetia, so let's start off with the exact quote from the Ars Goetia. The 43rd spirit, as King Solomon commanded them into the vessel of brass, is called Sabnock or Sabnock. He's a Marquis, mighty, great, and strong. I completely agree with that. Appearing in the form of an armed soldier with a lion's head, riding on a pale-colored horse. His office is to build high towers, castles, and cities, and to furnish them with armor, etc. Also he can afflict men for many days with wounds and with sores, rotten and full of worms. He giveth good familiars at the request of the exorcist. He commandeth 50 legions of spirits, and his seal is this. I will show the seal or sigil here on the video on the screen. This is also the sigil that I like to use in the rituals. Think about the seal or sigil as a connecting point to the spirit and kind of as a sign or logo that you can use to tap into the frequency of said spirit. Dive into some more modern interpretations and quotes about the spirit Sabnock. One from the Demonology goetia by S. Connolly, a book that I would definitely recommend to everybody who's looking to get into demonology, and working with demons. Sabnock, Marquis, original purpose. Builds high towers, cities and castles and protects them. He can also make people sick with festering sores. Now the author's notes say the following. Invoke Sabnock as a protection ward in your home or astral temple, and anyone who attacks your spaces protected by him will become ill immediately. Once they call off their attack, the illness will subside. It seems to be a strong deterrent. So this is very interesting and gives us more of a direction to understand what Sabnock is all about through a modern lens. Now I want to add another quote from the Luciferian Goetia by Michael Ford, another great book for everybody who's looking to get into demon magic. These newer Goetias definitely shine a more modern light on the interpretation of working with these spirits. It says the following. Sabnock builds towers and castles, being dwellings of the astral spirit, which the sorcerer shall encircle herself in through dream projection. He can cause wounds to infect and kill me slowly. Sabnock gives excellent familiars who may build and strengthen the towers of self. What we learn from these texts is that Sabnock specializes in protection. Sabnock can protect your mind, your house, your spirit, your thoughts, whatever it may be, even animals, family members, or whatever you're looking to protect spiritually. Sabnock is depicted as a lion, similar to Marbas, who is wearing an armor and has a soldier-like appearance, riding a pale horse. So Sabnock is known as a great soldier, and therefore his abilities of protection are really strong. Now, when you read in these texts about Sabnock building castles and arms and protects them, there's different layers of interpretation that you can go off. And on the one hand side, of course, you have your astral temple that you can build and protect with Sabnock. And this could be your mental, your mind, your amplitude of thoughts, etc. Or like in Michael W. Ford's books, Sabnock can help you to build your castle, meaning yourself, your self-image, your competence, your security, your safety, your self-determinism by protecting you from any negative outward influence and allowing you therefore to align, become, and act as your most optimal version. The powers and regions of life that Sabnock can help with, therefore, go definitely into the direction of protecting you guiding you, advising you. I find Sabnock to be not only an excellent protector, so for everybody who's looking to protect themselves spiritually, physically, mentally, on any layer of life, or others, or like I said, even something like animals, for example, your pets or whatever, Sabnock is a great spirit to work with. But not only can he protect and shield you, he can also guide and advise you in many directions of life. Just as always, these demons, ancient spirits, ancient teachers, ancient gods hold a vast amount of knowledge where they can help you with in many directions of life. Now, Sabnock is also said to be a master of architecture. And again, there's multiple layers of interpretation to the term architecture. It may be the physical architecture if you're building something, but more importantly, it can be the spiritual or mental architecture, helping you to restructure your own mind, your own life, the way that you enact in life, the way that you interact with others. This is all the ground layer of architecture, the conditionings that you're acting upon. This is all the architecture that drive yourself and life in a particular way that Sabnock can help you to improve, protect, or vasten in a positive direction. How as Connolly described it in her quote is that if you are under the protection of Sabnock, whoever dares to attack you in any sort of matter, shape, or form will suffer. I'm a big fan of using spiritual techniques to make others suffer. I'm more so a fan of using spiritual techniques to improve thyself. But it is an interesting place and world that we live in. So if you are seeking protection, I can guarantee you that Sabnock is an amazing spirit to work with, who will do everything in his power to make sure that you are safe from whatever influence. You can wear Sabnock's sigil if you're going outside as a protection. You can wear it as a chain, you can wear it as a ring. You can even put the sigil into your pocket if you're building a relationship with the spirit. Carrying it on you will help you. Even if you wander through certain areas, maybe of your city, or you're going somewhere, you're traveling, whatever it may be, Sabnock really is a great protector in any aspect of life. And like I said, this is not just the physical or the spiritual, this can also be the mental, shielding your mind from any outward influence. Sabnock is known to give good familiars, and again, building high towers, castles, and cities, furnishing them with weapons, ammunition, etc. If we look at that on a deeper level, he can help you to build yourself up high. A tower, a castle, is shielded and warded from the outside and stands strong within itself. And this is what Sabnock can help you with as a person. So summarizing his field of work, I would say, from my experience and from the text that we have just read together, Sabnock is the great defender. He's a protector, he's an advisor, he's a guide. You can work with him to shield thyself, others, things or beings that are important to you, to become a better or the best version of thyself by standing strong and tall in your own being without negative influence from the outside. He can advise and guide you in many aspects of life, and he can offer protection in many situations of life. Let's talk a little bit more about the appearance of Sabnock. The appearance of demons, spirits, is always a tricky subject because these spirits or deities may appear very different to you how they appear to me. And this is something that is important to understand, so this is not the end-all, be-all, but there may be variants, of course. Sabnock is said to appear as a lion, which I do think is very true. He has the lion energy about him, similar to the great President Marmbas, who I have many videos about on this channel. So there was an aspect of being familiar with this particular look and energy, as I do think there is some similarity to Marbas, definitely. He is said to be a strong warrior, riding a pale horse and wearing an armor. All right. How I saw Sabnock the first time I connected with him was actually as a cat, and I do think it is fascinating how the shapes and intensities of appearance may very well fluctuate depending on what state and stage of life you're in. So in this particular first interaction that I had with Sabnock, he appeared to me as a cat, which was interesting because he took a more gentle form, I want to say, and this just shows how these spirits very well are able to be empathic and take on forms or shapes or help you in specific forms or help you in specific directions of life, and really have an enthusiastic understanding and also definitely empathy to you depending on your life situation. I do think that the lion energy, the soldier energy is definitely very, very present with Sabnock. He does not mess around when it comes to tasks that you give to him. He is a fierce protector, and the lion energy, the soldier energy is definitely present and very, very clear to be felt with him. He's an amazing spirit to work with when it comes to communication, when it comes to friendliness. He is very open, he is gentle, he is kind, he's understanding, he is calm, and this is, I want to say, his energetic appearance. It is a very calm, very soothing, very pleasant energy. His aura makes you feel safe and protected, and whatever worry you might have in regards of your own safety or the safety of others will vanish quite quickly once you are in the presence of Sabnock, because his energy is on the one hand side calm and soothing, on the other hand side strong, and you can really feel the energy of a strong protector being around you, which automatically calms your being in a very, very significant degree. So whatever you may be suffering from, under, or worrying about right now, once connecting with Sabnock, you will feel a shift of that energy, and you can really feel the presence not only of a strong soldier and lion, but also of a protector. He really has an amazing protecting energy, and it just feels almost like a warm blanket of strong aura being wrapped around you that immediately soothes your being and mind. Now let's continue on with some general information that may help you with the conduction of a ritual. And when I make these videos about particular spirits and entities and deities, they shall serve as a starting point for you to gather information. I want to accumulate all the information that I've gathered as well as my own experience to make sure that the people who are watching this video, searching for this particular spirit, have some solid information, some groundwork to base their further proceedings off. Now, as we understood, Sabnock is listed in the Ars Goetia. He's the 43rd demon listed there, and his rank is the rank of a Marquis. So you can address him with Great Marquis Sabnock. He rules over 50 legions of demons. And as we know, he's said to give good familiars, which may be connected there, because he rules over quite a lot of different entities. He's said to be one of the divine architects, which is corresponding to his competence in the realms of architecture. Now, his day is Monday, and this is correlated to his planet being the moon. Now, why is this important? How I have learned through my own experience is that when you are working with the deity on the day that is most aligned with the deity, you can feel a stronger energetic presence. And then if you're doing that ritual, rite, spell, connection, meditation, whatever you may be doing during the planetary hour that is correlated to the planet of the deity, you will feel an extra increase in spiritual energy and connection. So this may mean that due to astrological factors, if you're conducting a ritual with Sabnock on Monday, the day of the moon, during the hour of the moon, you may feel an increase in spiritual energy and a stronger connection to Sabnock. The dates that he's correlated with, and this is from the Goetia of S. Connolly, is May 21st to May 31st, and the zodiac is therefore the Gemini. Now the direction of Sabnock is said to be south. You can implement that into your ritual, meditation, so on and so forth, by constructing the altar and using a compass facing south. All right, so if you're making up an altar, if you're preparing the offerings that I will go over, you can direct the altar towards south to have more factors aligned in your favor, to have a strong connection. And how I see it is that the more you're putting in, the more you're getting out. So on the one hand side, subconsciously for yourself, the more effort that you're putting in, the more factors that you're aligning with the spirit, the more you are actually feeling like, okay, this will work out. But on the other hand side also, of course, just like in every factor of life, your efforts and what you're putting out will reflect back in. So the more odds you stack in your favor, so to say, the stronger the ritual and the presence will be most likely. Now, the element of Sabnock is said to be fire. You can use that element by envisioning a particular fire over the sigil, for example. You can feel the fire rising within you. You can use some enchantings of the element of fire in addition to align yourself. But most importantly, this is also a representation of the nature of the spirit in some cases. So you may feel like a fiery energy around you. Finally, the enchanting of the spirit is Tasa Sabnock on Salirach. And the enchanting is used in combination with the sigil to connect with the spirit. So see the sigil as the visual anchoring point of connecting with the spirit. It's kind of like a key that opens a portal inside of yourself to connect with the being. And then the enchanting is the vocal accordance to that. So you have a certain frequency of words and sounds that are coming out of your mouth that are aligning you with that particular spirit and deity. So when using the enchanting, and make sure, just as always, when you're conducting a ritual, that you're well informed, that you make your research, and see this video really as a starting point about the information of Sabnock, but make sure that you know how to open a ritual, close a ritual, and how to conduct a ritual. In order to use this enchanting, don't go about it lightheartedly. We all know that. It's also in the beginning of the video as a little warning, so to say, because this is not just something that you throw out there on a random Tuesday and just, see what comes out of it. You want to prepare yourself. Now, back to the topic, the enchanting is, you can repeat that several times in order to call forth the deity. So you can go by feeling, or you can do a set amount of repetitions, and you can really chant it and vibrate it and close your eyes, or look at the sigil whilst enchanting it and keep repeating it over and over and over, bringing yourself in sort of like a trance state where you are able to be more open and receptive to telepathic messages, and also aligning yourself and your frequency with the particular deity. And like I said, chant the end, repeat it as long as needed before you feel a shift in energy. What really helps, if you are going to conduct a ritual, is if you meditate a little bit beforehand. This will clear your mind, and then bringing yourself into this state of trance by looking at the sigil, glaring into it, really staring deep into the sigil, combining that with the vocal chanting of the end, Tasa Sabnock on Salirach, and then also with the sense and the offerings that we will talk about now. Now, when it comes to the offerings of Sabnock, they are to be offered on an altar prepared for him. So whenever I conduct a ritual with a spirit, I make sure to have a little space dedicated to them, and I may print out or draw the sigil. I may print out or draw some imagery related to the being or deity, and then I also collect a certain set of items that is in correspondence from my own experience and the experience of others with the spirit. So in this particular case of Sabnock, this can be the following things. We already talked about the sigil, we talked about the drawings, we talked about the little dedicated space. These are all great things already, because when you invite the deity and spirit into your life and house, you show them the proper respect, and you show them that they have a part in your house, in your life, and that you are serious about it. When it comes to further objects to offer, my two favorite ones are coffee and dark chocolate when it comes to Sabnock. And the reason for that being is I found that Sabnock really enjoys these two particular items. So this can be dark chocolate and a black coffee. Now, an important offering from my personal experience that I always like to give, and again, there are disagreements about it, people going about it different ways, but when it comes to my personal interpretation and my experience, I always like to offer blood as well, as an energetic offering, as a form of spiritual currency, as a part of myself, and as a micro sacrifice of showing I'm giving up a part of myself to invite you into my life. And what I like to do is when I offer the coffee to Sabnock, when I offer the chocolate, what you can be doing is that you're holding your hand over these items and you're projecting energy into these items. So this can be, you can go about it several ways. If you happen to really enjoy coffee or chocolate, hold your hand over that item and really project all of the positive associations that you have with this item into that particular item, so charge it energetically. Another way could be that you are envisioning Sabnock's sigil into these items, right? So onto the chocolate, onto the coffee, whatever, right? You're really visualizing it into there. Or how I like to do it is I like to prick my finger, and when giving blood, we will talk about how to do that here in a second, I like to also anoint the coffee and the chocolate with some blood, charging it energetically with the spiritual currency that I carry within my veins. Now, when it comes to offering blood to Sabnock, how I like to go about it is the sigil, which should always be present at your altar, either drawn or printed out. Make sure that if you print it out, you redraw the lines so that there is some kind of like individual input of yourself as well. You don't just let technology take over, so to say. I like to give then the blood onto the seal and sigil. I like to speak some words of activation before that. So it can be something as simple as, by the power of my being, I activate the sigil to and for the great Sabnock. May the blood and life force energy that I give unto the seal and sigil be consumed by you, great Sabnock. I offer it from a pure heart. I ask for your help, or whatever it may be. I ask for connection, I ask for whatever it may be. And then you anoint the seal and sigil, just making sure that you are speaking a few words to activate the sigil and to also dedicate the blood verbally to Sabnock. And this is how you can go about it. And again, make sure that if you're going to give blood, if you're going to go down this path of ritual, that you make your research before doing so. When it comes to incense or essential oils, I like to use jasmine incense, patchouli incense. I also used sandalwood incense in the past. And then when it comes to oils, you can use jasmine oil or patchouli oil. And the way that you can use these scents is it's another factor of bringing you in a state of trance. But on top of that, you can anoint the sigil with the oil. You can anoint items with these essential oils. You can open up the essential oil, hold your hand over it, speaking some words of activation. I dedicate this oil to and for the great Marquis Sabnock. May it be activated to and for the great Marquis Sabnock, right? So that could be an idea. And then if you are offering candles, which is another great offering, you can anoint these candles with the essential oils. You can carve Sabnock's name or sigil into the candles. And now you see how you're stacking up multiple steps to out of a regular item. You're making something that is dedicated to the spirit. And the more thought and effort you put into it, the more you get out at the end of the day. And I always find great pleasure in designing an altar that is dedicated to the spirit and preparing some offerings and making sure that what I'm giving is really being well received. And when it comes to candles, oils, incense, you want to activate them by the ways and methods that I just described. Another great way that you can use is using the color association of this spirit, and the color of Sabnock is violet. So you can project violet energy into the candles, into the incense, and into the essential oil, into any item basically, and then combining that with the verbal enchantings. So if we quickly want to summarize here, what you can do for offerings for Sabnock is that you create a little altar or space for him in your house and home. You will bring the sigil, you will bring the enchanting, you will maybe bring some printed out pictures or drawn pictures of him that you decorate the altar with. And then you can bring several physical offerings that may be coffee, that may be dark chocolate, some essential oils, some incense, some candles. You will dedicate these offerings by activating them through blood, through projection of violet energy, through looking at them and projecting the sigil onto it, through verbal enchantings, and really making sure that whatever aligns with you, you're doing and activating these items to making sure that they're well received by Sabnock. And then on top of that, you may also bring things that you particularly in this moment or situation of preparing the altar see as a good or great offering. This can be things that are important to you or something that you just feel like would be a great offering, because usually your intuition is right when it comes to that. Now finally, I want to talk about my own experience with Sabnock. And I've briefly mentioned it before that Sabnock has been nothing but great to work with. And I think great is an understatement, but very often when it comes to describing my own experience, there is no verbal representation of the feeling that you're getting, of the change that is being made in your life, of the blessings that you are receiving. You can't possibly verbally accurately represent the experience that you have when you're going into a ritual and building this set connection. I can only tell you that I've been working with Sabnock for a very long time, regularly, and the connection that I've made with him is something truly special. His presence makes you feel safe. It makes you feel shielded, warded, guided, and protected. He acts as a great friend, as a soldier, as a protector, as a guide. There's really no accurate representation of the in language of the feeling that Sabnock gives you, the feeling of being safe, of being home, of being whole wherever you are, and of watching over you, and having this knowledge, this knowing that wherever you go, whatever you're doing, you have connected with a deity and entity that if you build a relationship with them, they are there for you when stuff goes down, so to say. That's just a feeling that is irreplaceable. The feeling of imminent safety. On top of that, Sabnock has really helped me to build my castle strong and high. So through several experiences, Sabnock has helped me to become more grounded, more happy, more healthy, and more determined within myself, and kind of like shielded and warded, not from other people, but also from outside influences, opinions of others, feelings of others, things that others may project onto you, because you know thy truth and you can stand in it. And this is something that Sabnock has delivered to me with and in absolute excellence. So summarizing my experience with Sabnock, from the very moment that I decided to connect with him, he was nothing but an amazing spirit to connect with. He was gentle and kind in our initial interaction. He is very calm and soothing in general. I really enjoy the presence of Sabnock. I am beyond blessed to have the ability to work with Sabnock, and the feeling that he gives you, the transformation of self, the transformation of life that he offers through working with him and building a relationship with him is unimaginable, indescribable, and just something very special. So if you are seeking to work with Sabnock, I hope that this video has served its purpose of being a starting point, maybe even a motivation of doing so. And if you have already worked with Sabnock, I would really invite you to share your experience below this video, and we can create a little forum of talking about how Sabnock has helped us, because I think if you have worked with Sabnock, you kind of owe it to the deity to also give some public praise and talk about your experience. At least that's how I see it, and this is why I create these videos. So yeah, if you have worked with Sabnock, make sure to share your experience below. I invite you to have an open conversation about the spirit or deity. If you have any questions about working with Sabnock, the ritual, the process, the offerings, all the information will be in the video description below this video as well. Everything that I have said, to make sure that you can read it up again. The N will be there, the offerings will be there, some references will be there that you can be using and leveraging. And then finally, if you have any further questions, just make sure to ask below this video. I'm more than happy to help you. I want to end this video with the final words of All Hail Sabnock. I thank you forever.